First off, let me apologize for all those that have been catching my Jedi Fallen Order streams. It's been a couple of days we haven't streamed any of the gameplay. Been very, very, very busy. So we will hopefully get things back going tomorrow. That will be Thursday. But today in this video, I want to discuss something totally related to what it is that I usually talk about. And that is Joker, DC Comics. Hollywood Reporter put something out in which they had everybody, or still have everybody, believing that a sequel is actually in the works, and they got this exclusive, and they're going through them, him basically, Todd Phillips, director of the recent Joker movie, wanted to do more DC origin films and such, but that it's in the works and such. But you got a couple of other deals such as Deadline saying that that is completely false. There actually is no such thing in the works. So he may want to do one, but there's nothing actually in the works. He hasn't even pitched anything, saying that it's flat out false. So basically, we don't know if it's going to happen. Being completely honest, we don't know if there's going to be a sequel. Now, considering how much money that it made, they're going to be very, very enticed. They're going to be very, definitely these days, knowing the hit that it is comic book movies, they are going to be very incentivized, considering that it made $1 billion, looking at how much it made in profit. People are waiting for it. People would go watch a sequel. So, it is what it is, right? Now, I wanted to get my thoughts because people kept popping up in my stream when I was, it wasn't a stream, it was my episode of For Canon's Sake, my live, it was technically a stream, I guess the live premiere of it, and you got people that were talking about, hey, Joker's confirmed, all of this stuff, and I know people want my thoughts in general, and I've talked about a little bit of this. Now, I personally said that this movie works because of it being a one-off. In comparison to maybe anything else, it works because it's a one-off, and they treat it like a one-off, and you go into it thinking that it's a one-off. So it's a believable, could be Joker origin film, and it was executed in a decent way. Which is all it is. It's a believable Joker origin film, right? That's all it is. Now, I said that it makes sense, and if you look at it objectively from a one-off standpoint, it works out. So you take that, sounds like I'm saying it shouldn't have an origin film. Oh, excuse me, it shouldn't have a sequel. And I'm still of that opinion that it really shouldn't have a sequel. I think this was perfect as a one-off. But considering how successful that it was, and I didn't even see that it was going to be this successful, I really wasn't anticipating that. I don't think anybody could have anticipated that it was going to do this well, maybe knowing that it was going to do good, but this is very impressive. No Chinese market or anything like that, and going to hitting $1 billion. I mean, that's just impressive, right? But in the same sense, if they feel like they want to use the character, I wouldn't be as opposed to the character being a part of a larger universe that, well, long story short, we're talking a more mature audience oriented universe, which I've done a couple of videos now. So I'm of the opinion that they stole my idea, if that's what they did. You can't steal ideas. Intellectual property is not a thing. We'll handle that for another video. Nonetheless, they bit off me. Let's just say that. But on a serious note, if the character was part of a larger universe and they used the character, I would prefer that more than just a straight up Joker 2. Or Joker, or whatever they're calling a sequel. That to me makes more sense. I love the idea of there being a more mature DC universe. I said, I don't know how many times, that I do not believe that I just simply don't believe that DC should be trying to walk in the exact footsteps of Marvel. I think Marvel, I don't want to say they caught lightning in a bottle, but they borderline perfectly executed 10 years of success, building up to this point with all of these different movies, appealing to a wide range of different people. I think DC is onto something when they say, "Hey, this is for adults." Sort of like what they did with maybe a little bit of the Vertigo stuff back in the past, but more so even Black Label nowadays, right? So it'd be like your Black Label version of DC, which I don't think they would do that simply because it's risky. Again, with it, not saying that every film has to be a rated R film, but if it's going to exist in a more mature universe, you know that it's not aimed at kids, and therefore those are heads that may not be in the theater. So it's risky in that sense. But more so, I think, because the other stuff is still in limbo with Aquamans of the world and Shazams and the Wonder Womans and all of that. That's still sort of up in the air, so nobody really knows what's going to happen. But I would not be opposed to even the other stuff getting axed and them focusing on the more mature. But I would prefer more mature audience. But I would prefer that way over, and I mean way over whatever they're going to do with a Joker sequel, which has not been confirmed, but it has been confirmed. But it hasn't. Take that in whatever way you may. But, and let me explain why. I thought that it just worked as such. When you start making multiple movies, then you starting to get into that arena of, now you have to convince me for a long period of time with it being heavily emphasizing the character, prioritizing the character, that this is Joker. How does the source material fall into that at all? So it's not to say that it's impossible, but I thought the way they set up the first one, Joker, was a good way to what could be a Joker origin film is believable. Let's leave that where it's at, right? You don't even have to touch that character again, right? But if they're going to use it again in a sequel, then again, you're talking about another Joker emphasized. How does it work? Can they pull it off? Maybe. But it also can be a disaster of epic proportions. And I personally don't want that. So I would much rather, if they just have to feel like they have to use Arthur Fleck, they have to use Joaquin Phoenix, they have to do it considering the success of this movie, they got to capitalize on it. Throw the character in a larger unit. Don't give him a sequel. Just make him, streamline that into maybe some Batman stuff, more Gotham related stuff, and go from there. How? Again, still difficult. But I would prefer that more than just a straight up Joker sequel. I think that movie worked as a one-off and should be treated like that. So what do you guys think? Should it get a sequel? Should it not get a sequel? Let me know in the comment section.